A Swiss team spent 4 years quietly writing their own encryption scheme, not a fork of Zama, not a wrapper on anyone else's math. Original cryptography. Last December, their blockchain went live, running arbitrary code on data that never gets decrypted. Mainnet, real transactions. This week, their token hit the open market for the first time at a fully diluted value about 6 times lower than the private round priced it. This is Octra, ticker OCT. Let me show you exactly what they shipped, why the cryptographers are paying attention, and the 2 reasons I'm watching it but haven't bought it yet. Quick receipts: I called Tau at $8 in November 2022 before it ran past 700. Caspa at 1 cent in March 2023. Tibber at 2 cents last April. I have no OCT position. But a handful of accounts with real track records, the kind who were early on Tau, early on virtuals, have been quietly accumulating OCT for weeks. That's a signal worth investigating. Not a call, a signal. Start with the problem. Every smart contract on Ethereum or Solana runs on data anyone can read. Balances, trades, bids, public, fine for a lot of things. Completely broken for anything that matters in the real world. Medical records, payroll, credit, enterprise data, private AI inference, fully homomorphic encryption, FHE, fixes that. It's a form of math that lets a computer run calculations on encrypted input without ever decrypting. Computer sees scrambled data, does the work, returns a scrambled answer. Only the key holder can read it. For decades, FHE was a beautiful academic idea, way too slow to use, that is changing fast. Octra is one of maybe 5 serious teams racing to make it a real blockchain primitive. Their claim, from their own site, first and only FHE network for blockchain and AI live in production today. Whether only holds up forever is debatable. Live in production today is verifiable, which is exactly what this video is about. Here's the part most people miss. Octra's FHE scheme is not a fork. It is their own original cryptography, built over 4 years. They call it HFHE, Hypergraph Fully Homomorphic Encryption, open sourced on GitHub. That is genuinely rare. Intuition, no math degree. Classical FHE treats encrypted computation as a very long, very linear sequence of gates, one after another, brutally slow because every step is serial. HFHE represents the same logic as a hypergraph, where one edge can connect many nodes at once. That means instead of one gate at a time, you compute clusters of gates in parallel, more throughput, less latency, cheaper encrypted compute. And they did not just describe it. The library is public on GitHub, along with a separate proof of concept in C++. If you are a cryptographer or know one, you can read the code today. Different posture than most FHE competitors, who ship papers and roadmaps. These folks shipped code and then built a chain on top of it. The chain itself has 3 choices that stand out. 1, isolated execution environments. Every app runs in its own branch. Data never leaks between apps, and each branch can be tuned independently. Privacy-first rollups built in from day 0. 2, ML-based consensus. Instead of classical proof-of-stake, validators are scored by a machine learning ranking on useful work. The claim is that this keeps nodes light enough to run on Raspberry Pi class hardware. If that holds at scale, it breaks the only big operators validate trap that kills decentralization on most new L1s. 3, ReasonML smart contracts. Reason is an OCaml dialect with native primitives for encrypted variables, meaning developers do not need to be cryptographers, you write normal code. Sensitive variables get marked encrypted. The runtime handles the FHE underneath. Put it together, what you get is a general purpose chain that treats encrypted compute as first class, not a privacy coin, not a mixer, a platform where confidentiality is a type, not a feature. Let's walk the actual shipping timeline because this is where most vaporware falls apart, and Octra really doesn't. 2021, founded in Switzerland. Quiet heads down, October 2023, internal prototype not public. September 2024, $4 million pre-seed, led by Finality Capital Partners, joined by Big Brain Holdings, Carotaz, Presto Labs, Builder VC, not crypto degen money. These are research-heavy funds. January 2025, Phase 1 testnet goes live. Oversubscribed within days, over 300 validators. June 2025, public testnet, processed over 100 million transactions from 1.5 million accounts, peak throughput around 17,000 transactions per second. December 2025, mainnet alpha, real transactions, real validator set, live Ethereum bridge, April 2026, Public distribution on-chain through a Uniswap continuous clearing auction. 100 million OCT, 10% of supply sold to the market. Full on-chain price discovery, no private allocation behind a wall. That's 4 years of technical work before the token ever touched a retail buyer. In crypto, that sequence is the exception, not the rule. Honest comparison time, FHE is not Octra's lane alone, 4 other serious teams, and the differences are real. Zama is the most famous, Paris-based, a confidential protocol that plugs into Ethereum and Solana without needing its own chain. Cross-chain privacy middleware, big funding. Their token sale is coming. Fhenix is the Ethereum native play. Solidity library, off-chain FHE coprocessor, tight focus. Inco is close to Zama's model, a confidentiality layer on top of existing chains. And 10 mixes trusted execution environments with FHE. Where does Octra actually differentiate? 3 things. 1, it's the only FHE chain fully live on mainnet today with its own execution layer. The others are either pre-mainnet or pure middleware. 2, its cryptography is its own, not borrowed. 3, it's generalist. Any app, any data, not just encrypted DA-Fi. You do not have to believe Octra wins this category. You do have to notice that shipping an L1 with your own FHE scheme in mainnet alpha is a different achievement than publishing a paper. Honest part, here are the real bear arguments. 1, mainnet alpha. Alpha means not battle tested, not audit saturated, not proven under adversarial load. Alpha is where smart contract exploits and consensus bugs live. 2, FHE is still orders of magnitude slower than plaintext compute. Hypergraphs help. But we are not at the point where you'd run a high-frequency exchange on fully encrypted state. Real-world throughput on real data is the test that matters, and it hasn't happened yet. 3, the Sonar sale at 200 million FDV was postponed. They pivoted to the Uniswap auction, which cleared way lower, 2 readings. Either the private round was rich and the market corrected, or sentiment is soft and impatient insiders front-ran the distribution. Both have evidence. 4, privacy as a narrative has been burned before. Monero, Zcash, Secret, Aztec. Every cycle someone declares this is privacy's year. Markets have not consistently rewarded it. If you hear those 4 and still want to look deeper, you're the target audience. If you don't, fair. Zoom out. Why does encrypted compute matter specifically right now? 2 reasons. AI and regulation. AI first. Every serious enterprise AI product runs into the same wall. The best training data and best inputs are sensitive. Medical images, customer messages, trading positions, internal documents. No one wants to hand that to a centralized inference provider in plain text. FHE is the only cryptographic tool that lets a model compute on encrypted input and return encrypted output with mathematical guarantees, not policy promises. Math regulation second. Europe's rules keep getting stricter. US state privacy laws are multiplying. Every AI regulation written in 2026 is converging on the same requirement. Sensitive data must stay confidential, even from the compute provider. That is the exact problem FHE was invented to solve. Strategic point, whichever chain builds the dominant FHE primitive becomes the default substrate for private AI agents, private enterprise DAFI, and private identity. 10-year trillion-dollar category today, a handful of small teams racing. That is what makes this whole space worth watching, not just Octra. Where the token actually sits as of this recording, price about 3 cents, circulating 100 million, total supply 1 billion. Current fully diluted valuation around $32 million compared to the planned private sale. Priced at 20 cents per token, implied fully diluted valuation 200 million. Private sale postponed. Uniswap auction cleared near 3 cents, roughly a 6 times discount to what private investors paid. Read that carefully. It does not mean the token is undervalued. It means the public market is pricing it very differently than the private round did. Those gaps close one of 2 ways. Either the token re-rates up toward the private valuation as the product proves out, or the private round was ahead of its skis, and 3 cents is fair. Your job as a researcher is to figure out which. Trading is almost entirely on Uniswap v4. No major CEX listings yet. Major listing would be a catalyst. Here is my working take. Octra is the most technically credible FHE project retail can actually buy today. Own cryptography, own chain, mainnet alpha live, real validator count, real transaction history, and a token that just cleared the public market at a steep discount to the private round. That does not make it a buy. It makes it a thing worth understanding before the next cycle decides whether encrypted compute is a category or just another narrative that missed. If I take a position, you'll see it on X first, with the entry price in real time. Signal and noise. Signal. Mainnet reliability over the next 90 days. Ethereum bridge volume, the EVM compatibility upgrade, which the team flagged for Q1 and is the thing that lets Solidity devs ship encrypted versions of their apps. First external audit reports, first CEX listing, first real third-party application running on HFHE in production, noise, Telegram price targets, Threadbro 100x call tweets, random influencer shilling without explaining the cryptography. Any comparison to meme coins, the whole appeal here is that this is a serious engineering project. If someone's pitch is purely number go up, they are not the person to listen to. And this is the place in the video where I say the thing every crypto video should say. This is not financial advice. Nothing in this video is financial advice. I am sharing research and reasoning. You are responsible for your own decisions. Do your own work. Not financial advice. DYOR. Specific, stake in the ground predictions for the next 12 months. Screenshot these. Flame me later. 1. The EVM compatibility upgrade ships. Before it ships, Octra is a niche chain for FHE pioneers. After it ships, it can absorb existing Solidity apps and convert them into encrypted versions. That is a huge surface area expansion. I expect it in Q2 or Q3. 2. At least one top 20 centralized exchange lists oct before year end. Token that's narratively aligned with AI and privacy, with real mainnet shipping not getting a major listing in 12 months would be strange. 3. The FHE category consolidates to 2 or 3 winners. Zama, Octra, and one surprise. Anyone not shipping by late 2026 fades. Research-heavy categories do not have 20 winners. 4. My personal bar for buying Oct. 2 things. A full external audit of the HFHE implementation and the EVM upgrade deployed on mainnet, not just announced. If both land, my posture changes. If neither lands by year end, I keep watching and probably rotate the thesis. So, back to where we started, a Swiss team. 4 years, their own encryption, a live mainnet, a token the public just priced at a 6 times discount to the private round. I don't own Oct yet. I'm watching closely because quiet accumulation is happening and the technical story is one of the most credible in this whole narrative. For every position I actually take, I post the entry on X in real time as CryptoS Giants. One more time, this is not financial advice. Do your own research. See you in the next one.